is Rachel with the Herbalist Garden. How are you today? It is Halloween. So if you don't celebrate Halloween, then happy All Saints Day. Either way, I'm very glad you're here. Today we're going to talk about basil, and we're going to take a deep dive into this plant that is very, very good for us. Aside from the side effects, but we'll get there. We'll get there. So, basil. And remember, I'm reading so that I have organization because my brain does not organize very well in words. Anyway, so basil, it's more than just an ingredient in pesto. We can use basil in so many things, and it has so many medicinal qualities. So there are 35 different types of basil. The scientific name is, bear with me here, I'm not good at these, Ocimum sanctum L, or Ocimum tenuiflorum L. This variety is known to be anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, and a powerful adaptogen, meaning it helps the body to respond to stress and fight disease. We like basil. It is a very sweet, I don't know, it's just very, how do I say it? It's a plant that just makes you feel good. Like, not even just when taking it. It also makes you feel good in just like looking at it, because it's just smooth leaves, and the symmetry is just beautiful. It's a perfect green. I don't know how to explain it. Basil is so enjoyable to grow. You take a little snippy snip, and then it gets bigger. And you take some more snippy snips, and it gets bigger. It's a great plant. It's pretty good for all environments as long as there's sun. But we'll get to that later. So, the most common cooking basil used in fresh herbs recipes is Italian basil, which is high in antioxidants, magnesium, and vitamins. Basil oil is also used to create perfumes, household cleaners, and in dental care products. Since one of the known benefits of basil is its ability to act as an antibacterial and antimicrobial agent that fights germs and bacteria. Now, I knew that basil did a lot of things medicinally. I did not know that it was like antibacterial and antimicrobial and stuff. So like, you know, we know that like oregano is, and mullein is, and garlic is, and all that kind of stuff, and people make those into an oil and then like use them as an antibiotic to avoid taking pharmaceuticals. And let me just tell you, they work fantastic, especially in ear infections and just different things, especially if you catch your sickness early. It will definitely help what is going on in your body and fix it. You'll have to excuse the saw. They're working on the addition. But I didn't know that basil did all this. So like, I was very excited to think, well, if I run out of everything else, basil is so prolific when it's growing season, and you can stock up on the actual herb itself in dried form, that, I mean, you can use that as an antibiotic if you want to. So it's an aromatic herb. It's in the mint family too. Same plant as other nutrient-dense, beneficial herbs and spices, including mint, oregano, and rosemary. All basil plants, for the most part, grow as a small plant that produce large green leaves measuring around 2 inches in length. Their season is through the warm months. It's the warm summer months. Summer here. I don't know, summer wherever you are, when they can often be found in farmers markets across the U.S. and I'm sure everywhere else. I mean, chime in. Can you find it in your country? Basil is an important medicinal plant in various traditional and folk systems of medicines, such as Southeast Asia and India. Holy basil is one of those. There's a lot going on. I shouldn't have videoed it now, but I'm running behind. It's usually referred to, holy basil is usually referred to as tulsi, especially in India. And actually it's considered a sacred herb. It's been used in more than 300 different Ayurvedic herbal treatments for thousands of years, including tinctures, teas, ointments, and tonics. Hold. As we continue, sorry, the cat was pawing the door to death, and because she wants outside, but he wants outside, but he's not going outside because he's too young, in my opinion, and he's not fixed yet. So, the historical use is basil. Basil belongs to the genus of Ocimum, I believe it's Ocimum, which is derived from the Greek word ozo, meaning to smell. The exact origins of the herbs are somewhat unclear, but it's believed that it's native to areas in Asia and Africa. Basil plants began growing wild as perennials on some Pacific islands thousands of years ago, and then were brought from India to Europe through the Middle East in the 16th century. Then through sentences, sometime during the 17th century, the herb made its way over to the Americas. Thank you very much for bringing that over here. All right. So there's 35 varieties. I have a list here of some of the varieties, the ones that we know of here in the U.S. and they are more easily used. So we have sweet basil. It's one of the most popular basils, renowned for its Italian dishes, and commonly sold dried in supermarkets. And has a licorice clove flavor. Okay. I don't think that I ever thought that that's how that tasted, but that's what somebody said. Okay. Bush or Greek basil has a strong aroma but a mild flavor, so it can be substituted for sweet basil. Forms a compact bush with small leaves and grows well in a pot. I think all basil grows well in a pot, in my opinion. Thai basil. I've heard of this a lot, and I don't know if I've ever actually had it. Has an anise licorice flavor and is commonly used in Thai and Southeast Asian dishes. What do you use your Thai basil in? Cinnamon basil. Never heard of this one. It's native to Mexico. Has a cinnamon-like flavor and scent. Commonly served with legumes or spicy stir-fried vegetables. Another one I'd never heard of. We have lettuce basil. Features large, wrinkled, soft leaves with a licorice-like flavor. Works well in salads or tossed with tomatoes and olive oil. Again, I don't think it tastes like licorice. I don't like licorice and I like basil, so I'm not sure where they're getting that connection. Tell me what you think. Let me know down below. So we have lemon basil. I've heard of that. I don't have a description for that one. I'm sure you can figure it out. Italian or curly basil. Holy basil. That we'll get into a little bit more. And words. Let's see. Genovese basil. And then purple basil, which I have seen but I've never had. So all basil is high in vitamin A, vitamin K, calcium, iron, and manganese. So there's a difference between the fresh leaves and the dried leaves and their amount of the properties for them, and that's the RDI. I can't remember what exactly that stands for right at the moment. I got a lot going on around me, so I'm like looking everywhere. Cat, kid, noise out back. Jeez. All right. One of the things, okay, so all the medicinal qualities of basil. There's quite a few actually, more than I actually knew about. So it was really cool to deep dive into this plant. It reduces memory loss associated with stress and aging. It reduces depression related to chronic stress. So basically, adaptogen, right? We love that it's an adaptogen. This herb is considered an antidepressant by some since it can positively impact brain function within the adrenal cortex, helping stimulate neurotransmitters that regulate the hormones responsible for making us happy and energetic. So, yay basil. I'm pumped. I haven't had any basil today. Maybe that's what I need. So it reduces stroke damage and supports recovery, whether given before or right after a stroke. So I would say if you have a stroke, or you know somebody who's had one, like imminently, do basil and cayenne. It will speed up the recovery really quickly. So it improves fasting blood sugars, cholesterol and triglycerides. I need the triglycerides one. My genetics just have it be high, and I haven't quite figured out how to lower it yet. That's like literally the only thing I have high on me. It reduces blood pressure in people with hypertension, relaxes blood vessels, and thins your blood, similar to aspirin. It protects against aspirin's damage to your gut. That's a good thing, particularly by preventing ulcers. It prevents certain kinds of cancers, including breast cancer, colon cancer, and pancreatic cancer. Bonus. It increases mental alertness when inhaled as aromatherapy. See, that's where I have used basil more often as aromatherapy. I think it smells beautiful. And not like the liquors that they talk about. I don't know. It's a mood lifter. It supports digestion, so it's a carminative, which means that it's a warming digestive plant. So warm things up in your gut and get them moving. That's a good thing. Anti-inflammatory and antioxidant. So antioxidants combat cancer cells. So we need them as much as possible, which is in all fruits and vegetables. Eat fruits and vegetables. It inhibits the growth of bacteria that can cause dental decay. So I guess if you mix it in with, if you make your homemade toothpaste, which I have tried multiple times, I'm just not happy with any of them. So I just used a activated charcoal toothpaste. But I guess if you want to add in cloves, basil, and all these different things, I guess you could do an oil pulling with a basil oil. That would probably be useful. You can do it with coconut oil. Now basil oils that we're finding out, clove oil. You can do with toasted sesame seed oil. All those things are possibilities. I personally cannot do coconut oil. I tried it for a couple months. The viscosity really doesn't work for me. Never spit those things down the sink. They will ruin your pipes. So it says improves food safety, such as if integrated into food packaging by manufacturers. I don't know. So maybe if you put a basil leaf in with things that would go bad, maybe it would not go bad as fast. That's the only thing I can think of there. I didn't actually look into this. I kind of skimmed over these and go, oh, okay, these are new. And then that one, for some reason, just eluded my eyesight before. So I didn't look into it. I apologize. It provides alternatives to antibiotics for infectious disease, including combating antibiotic-resistant strains of bacteria, MRSA in particular. Wish I had known this, but I've detoxed from all those pharmaceuticals that I took. Granted, I'm not... Okay, I don't like pharmaceuticals. You can do what you want. But for me and my body, I do not do pharmaceuticals unless it's life imminent. You know, like if I am in a car accident or something, God forbid. then, I'd go into the ER. They'd admit me into the hospital, and I wouldn't really have a choice but to go on whatever they give me for life-saving benefits. I can just come home and I can detox, right? I'm detoxing from a few things right now, and it's taking forever. So in studies, basil extract is even shown to be helpful in inhibiting resistant strains of bacteria that don't respond to antibiotic treatments. Those are shown in studies. So they know this stuff, but they still give us pharmaceuticals. I don't understand the whole of it. It's a money-making scheme. Big pharma, whatever. I mean, you believe what you like. I am not going to judge you, but I am entitled to my own opinions based on my research. When researchers involved, one study tested the antibacterial activity of basil oil against strains of E. coli and other powerful bacteria that were gathered from sick patients with infections. The results showed that it was effective in acting against the bacteria strains and helping inhibit their growth. So it works on even E. coli. I would not use it by itself. I mean, you can. Like, say, you get infected with E. coli. That's not happening. We're not claiming that. You could take basil oil, you could take basil extracts, you could take whatever form of basil, but I would also combine that with the garlic and the oregano and different things like that. So make a formulation when you create a medicine for yourself so that they can complement each other and work faster and stronger in your body. I mean, you know what works. You be your own science experiment. It's not going to kill you unless you're like deathly allergic, and then don't do it. So this has led researchers to continue to study how its antibacterial oils may help fight antibiotic-resistant illnesses and infections. We like basil. They say it repels insects such as mosquitoes and ticks. Yes, we need every resistance to get those. So one of these, when I am finished with the protocol that I am going through, I will introduce it to you guys because I want to be foolproof that it worked. But I have Lyme disease right now, and I am working on getting rid of it. I feel like it is almost completely gone. I have very little indicators that say it's still there. I'm almost done with it. I need to be done with it because I'm sick of taking these herbs as often as I have to take them. I think it's 5. So it's like morning, noon, I do 3, 6, and then right before bed. So 5 times a day. I don't mind taking my herbs, tinctures, and all these things, but 5 times a day. So let's keep up with. I'm not much of a. I'm routine, but not if you make me do it. Anyways, so what I was getting at is the ticks and mosquitoes thing. So wild teasel tincture is something that I have found that actually, if you take it, it makes your body resistant to the bacteria that infects you, the parasite infection that infests after a tick bite. So it keeps that bacteria from settling into your body. It pretty much says bye. I have not had any tick bites since I've been starting to take it. I've had ticks crawling on me because I have animals. I'm outside all the time. I live in a rural area. But nothing ever bores into me. So it's basically saying, bye ticks, go away. So it's really good for oxidative stress because if left unchecked, oxidative stress can lead to health conditions like cancer, cardiovascular disease, cataracts, inflammatory diseases like arthritis. So we want to take things that are antioxidant, basically, anti-inflammatory and cancer fighting. We want to consistently ingest those foods and herbs so that our body can easily and automatically, like they're supposed to, fight those things that can go wrong in our bodies. Those things that are constantly introduced to us with, if you ever eat out, if you buy food at the grocery store that contains all those things, if you cook with anything other than cast iron or, the good metals and stuff like that, copper and different things like that. So if you're using Teflon, if you're using water bottles, if you're using any sort of things that introduce microplastics or things into your body that need to detox, we need to continually be feeding ourselves with all these anti-inflammatories, antioxidants, cancer-fighting herbs and foods. So basil contains phytochemicals which can help naturally prevent cancer. So phytochemicals, antioxidants, including chemical-induced skin, liver, oral, and lung cancers. So I didn't know this either. So basil is also an analgesic, which is a pain reducer. It's an antipyretic, which is a fever reducer. It's a diabetes preventer. It's a liver protector, so it's a hepaprotective. Blood vessel protector, anti-stress solution, which we kind of got over, and it's an immune booster. It's like, you do like, not everybody likes to taste the basil, so like if you formulate that with, say, elderberry and echinacea, boom, you got a good formulation there. And you might not be able to taste the basil because if you don't like it, then you don't like it. So, for example, when researchers studied the anti-stress effects of fresh basil leaves given to rabbits that were exposed to high-stress environments, they found a significant improvement in oxidative stress levels following its use. So, animal studies, but these are, in my opinion, animal studies that aren't going to hurt the animal, so I'm okay with that. So after the rabbits received supplementation of 2 grams of fresh basil leaves for 30 days, they experienced cardiovascular and respiratory protection in response to stressors. A significant decrease in blood sugar levels was also observed, while a significant increase in antioxidant activity was observed. I'm going to tell my friends with their bunnies, go give them some basil leaves. So it helps with the muscles that control blood vessel function, contract and relax, promoting healthy blood pressure. It seems to have the ability to help prevent dangerous platelet aggregation, as shown in research on rats, clumping together of blood platelets that can form a clot within the arteries and cause cardiac arrest. So, it's good for your heart and for your blood pressure, blood arteries. It may also reduce inflammation that can cause cardiovascular disease by inhibiting the release of pro-inflammatory cytokines, proteins that are secreted from cell to cell in order to communicate and raise the body's immune defenses. Basil is good for us. Jeez, I knew it was. Jeez, this is kind of surprising me. So improvements in producing detoxifying enzymes, higher antioxidant defenses, and a reduction of fat buildup in the liver improves the production of the detoxifying enzymes, and higher antioxidant defenses and reduction in fat buildup that can cause liver disease. So it's actually really good for fatty liver disease. any sort of liver issues. It's really good. It helps balances the acid within the body and restore the body's proper pH levels. So, I guess if you would do basil salt, like a lot of people are mixing good quality mineral salts with different herbs, and then like making it a seasoning. That would be a good option too, because then it would counteract other things. So holy basil, we're getting into that right now, because holy basil usually isn't used as a food additive. It's usually used specifically medicinally. So it has a long history of use for many ailments, including many of those that I already talked about. Human studies are available and the results are encouraging. When 60 people with type 2 diabetes took 250 milligrams of holy basil extract alongside a diabetic drug each day before breakfast and dinner for 3 months, they had an 18% decrease in average blood sugar compared to those who only took the drug. So these things can be used alongside to facilitate the efficacy of your pharmaceuticals, as long as they're not interacting, because we will get there. So in a study with 158 people with at least 3 symptoms of stress, taking 1,200 milligrams of holy basil extract daily for 6 weeks was 39% more effective at improving general stress symptoms than a placebo. Okay. Placebos, for those that don't know, they give you a little water pill. Is basically what they do, or a sugar pill, depending on what the study's for. And they tell you it's the drug that everybody else is getting, so then they can. The words are not coming right now. I'm so sorry. Both sweet and holy basil have a long history of medicinal use. In a few studies, people suggest benefits for blood sugars and stress. Though they say more research is necessary. I'm the research. We'll go with me. I don't mind, as long as it's not pharmaceuticals. So though fresh basil gives a stronger flavor, dried basil is less expensive and more convenient. You can also buy basil frozen in recipe portioned cubes in a freezer section at stores. I have never seen that. Do you have that at your stores? Let me know about it down below. So sweet basil is most widespread, but you may find other varieties at farmers markets or ethnic markets, such as Asian food stores. Alternatively, grow your own, because we can pretty much find the seeds for almost any type, and you get all of it instead of having to only buy a portion of it for really expensive. You're getting the whole plant that just keeps on going all summer long. And you, as I said, take a snippy snip, it keeps growing. Snippy snip, keep growing. Snippy snip, keep growing. When winter comes, like we're getting ready to fall into winter. We harvested all our basil, and I freeze dried it. So, and then it crumbles down, dried herb, right? You can freeze it in the freezer in ice cube trays with your choice of oil, like olive oil, avocado oil. Please be careful with your oils. Seed oils are terrible for you. But there's a lot of ways to store your basil. You can grow basil anywhere with nighttime temperatures above 60 degrees for at least 2 months. So, not spring, in other words, because you're going to get temperatures down below 60. Basil is sensitive to cold and likes sun exposure all day. Full sun. You can cultivate basil with a seed planted in dirt or a stem cut from another plant. you can put that in water until the roots start to grow. So we can do basil in our kitchen. And you have to change, we'll get to that. Basil will flourish in a garden or patio pot that drains well. Harvest basil leaves as you need them, but don't pluck them from your plant. Use scissors or some sort of snipping tool of sorts from your garden. And it's always preferred that your garden tools are clean. We don't want to spread things, pathogens, from the soil to our plants that we're going to eat. Of course, we wash them. You understand what I'm trying to say. But you cut the stems towards the bottom, like at the nodes, so that only 2 to 4 leaves remain on the plant. So 2 to 4 leaves, and then you can snip above that level at the node. You can put fresh basil stems in a jar with tap water. Filtered water I would highly recommend, especially if your water isn't tested very often. Water in my area is not good. When I lived in another area years ago, we would get our water test statement yearly, and they were letting us drink water that was tested high for lead. And they didn't do anything about it. I don't understand. So, filter your water. It's probably best. Distilled water. Distilled water is good for certain things, but it has literally no minerals in it whatsoever. So, we want some minerals, but the proper minerals. So, put fresh basil stems in a jar of water to keep the leaves fresh for a few days. It's debatable whether you should refrigerate fresh basil, as cold temperatures can discolor the leaves. If you have a lot of fresh basil, you can dry the leaves and store them in a jar with a tight-fitting lid. Do airtight. Avoid crumbling the leaves until you need them, as this helps retain their essential oils, aroma, and flavor. Okay. So we got safety and side effects. Let's go into this, because you guys, I had before I started this, I got suggestions of what things to add, and side effects are a thing with everything. I don't think there's anything outside of maybe water. I'm not even sure that nobody's allergic to. There's nothing. There's always going to be somebody allergic to something. So basil is generally safe when consumed in small amounts, with a few precautions warranted. Basil leaves are high in vitamin K. We talked about that, which helps blood clot. The proper clot, not bad clot. High intakes could interfere with blood thinning drugs like warfarin. So if you're on blood thinners, basil is probably not for you. Not in a medicinal sense. It can be used like in foods and stuff. You can have pesto, but I would not at all take it in a medicinal sense. Sorry, I had to let the cat in. So, if you're taking a blood thinner, consume consistent amounts of vitamin K daily so your doctor can regulate your medication. So, if you're taking it and eating it in foods like pesto, I think you're fine, because doctors, when they're prescribing something, they allot for that. But of course, everybody's bodies respond differently, so that's why we go in for frequent checks to the doctor when you're on a medication, because he has to say, oh, well, they've got a diet that's high in pesto because they really like pesto, but they don't necessarily know that it tends to thin the blood, so they have to adjust their medication intake dose so that, it compensates. Doctors compensate for that kind of stuff. They really should be asking us more about our diets, but they don't. So in contrast, basil extracts such as those found in supplements, can thin your blood, leading to problems if you have a bleeding disorder or upcoming surgery. So don't go out and have a pesto meal right before you have surgery. Do not do that, please. And I think more doctors should be telling people that kind of stuff. They really, anyways, we're not gonna go there. Additionally, people taking blood pressure lowering drugs or diabetic drugs should be cautious using basal supplements, since they may lower blood pressure and blood sugar. Your doctor may need to decrease your drug dose. Again, doctors know this kind of stuff, and so that's why we go in for frequent checks when we are taking a medicine, and they adjust things accordingly. Most of the time, you're not ingesting 1,200 milligrams a day of basil to make it affect the drug in any way. This is stuff the doctors do know. It says avoid holy basil if you're pregnant or trying to get pregnant. Do you hear that? Don't have basil if you're trying to get pregnant. Animal studies suggest that holy basil supplements may negatively affect sperm and trigger contractions in pregnancy. So it's for male and female. Holy basil is not something that you want. I know multiple people trying to get pregnant right now. Stay away from holy basil. Husbands too. Boyfriends. Baby daddies. Stay away from it. Though basil allergies are rare, a few cases have been observed in people who reacted to pesto. Somebody's allergic to something somewhere. So it also, this is a cool part of it, it's a natural aphrodisiac. In Italy, basil has been considered a symbol of love for centuries. The aroma is believed to increase libido and arousal, possibly by increasing blood flow and energy levels while reducing inflammation. Okay. In the Hindu religion and Ayurveda practices, Tulsi is considered the elixir of life and promotes healthy sexual function and an upbeat mood. It also helps protect, I think we talked about this, but it helps protect against diabetes and metabolic syndrome. Compounds within the herb have been found to reduce circulating blood glucose levels and inflammation, which makes it protective against diabetes development and other forms of metabolic syndrome. Benefits of basil essential oil include the ability to help lower triglycerides, we'll look into this a little bit more, and cholesterol levels, which diabetic patients are at higher risk for developing. I'm not diabetic, but my triglycerides are not very stable. When researchers investigated the effects of holy basil leaves on blood glucose and serum cholesterol levels in humans through double-blind clinical trials, the results showed that it caused significant improvement in blood glucose control and mild improvements in cholesterol levels. So it helps prevent cell damage. Basil contains powerful antioxidants like flavonoids, polyphenols, and essential oils such as eugenol that protect cells from oxidative stress. Oxidative stress occurs when there's an imbalance between free radicals and antioxidants in the body, leading to cell damage. That's basically what they do, what oxidative stress is. A study published in Food Chemistry demonstrated that basil extract effectively scavenges free radicals and reduces oxidative damage in cells, highlighting its potential to prevent degenerative disease associated with oxidative stress. So it's back to the oxidative stress thing. So, and that's all important because we want to prevent cell damage. Because if we don't, when we have cell damage, that increases our likelihood for developing cancer. So it also boosts our mental health. We talked about that. It's a mood lifter. Research indicates this herb may have positive effects on mental health and cognitive function, including the ability to enhance short-term memory, attention, and overall cognitive function, improve mood, lower stress, and anxiety. I think we all need that. I know so few people without anxiety disorders. We don't need to necessarily always call them a disorder. I mean, people even without a disorder still get anxiety once in a blue moon. I don't get it that much anymore, thank goodness. But I mean, when it happens, go take some basil tincture. Formulate it with like skullcap or St. John's wort or any other sort of mood-lifting herb. So it also protects against skin aging. The antioxidants in basil play a crucial role in protecting the skin from aging. These antioxidants neutralize free radicals that cause oxidative damage to the skin, leading to wrinkles, fine lines, and other signs of aging. So I guess you could put it in a night cream. You could put it in moisturizer. All these things are, there's just so much we can do with basil I didn't even know. A study published in 2011, found that basil extract has potent anti-aging effects on the skin, promoting collagen production and improving skin's elasticity. I'm making me some basil-based stuff. The study suggested that basil could be used as a natural ingredient in anti-aging skincare products. I would say that is true, based on studies in 2011. So how we grow and how we use it. Today, basil is one of the most important herbs in many cultures and cuisines, including Italian, Indian, Thai, and Vietnamese. Basil leaves can be eaten raw. Yes, the plant can be eaten both raw and cooked and used in tons of ways. So we can use it as an additive to our sauteed vegetables, because guess what? It's a vegetable. We can use it in sauces, hence pesto and other things. We use it to flavor meat, fish, and stews, as a part of dressings, in herbal teas, flavor liquors, even to make mixed drinks. There are mixed drinks that require basil. They're not my favorites, but it is possible. Thing. My son's at the door. When buying it pre-cut, look for brightly colored leaves that are firm and aren't wilted. It's usually available at farmers markets during the summer and early fall, and year-round at most grocery stores. So you can go buy it dried in the seasoning aisle, or in the produce. You can, get basil. It's right there. But make sure the leaves are firm and not wilted. That's a big one. So once the basil plant is ready to be picked, once you buy it or pick it, store dried, unwashed basil in the refrigerator, wrap it inside a damp paper towel. So you take damp paper towel, leaves, and then you roll it up and you place it in a plastic bag or glass container. Plastic. I know plastic's cheaper, I understand. But it'll prolong its freshness. And you wash it before using it, since it can carry dirt and feel gritty. So we did talk about the risks and side effects. And if you're pregnant or trying to get pregnant, do not take it. The basil essential oil isn't meant to be ingested and should be diluted when being used on your skin for its potency. All essential oils are supposed to be diluted with a carrier oil. All of them. Every brand, you're supposed to dilute it to put it on your skin. And they're really, most of them aren't meant to be ingested, but I can guarantee you there are going to be people who disagree with me. That's just not what they're designed for. You do you, boo. So basil essential oils or supplements might also interact with cholesterol-lowering medications and diabetic medications. So if you're currently taking prescriptions for those medications, for those conditions, you'll want to speak to your daughter before taking any basil supplements. If you go by doctors, I mean, they're very smart. They know a lot, but they don't know everything. They are very well versed in what they are taught. Let me put it that way. And what they're taught about herbs is like, I think not even a 15-week course. There's so many ways to use basil. It is so good for our bodies. All you need is a pot, soil, and lots of sunlight and water. When used medicinally, you can purchase it as an essential oil, you can purchase it as a whole plant, you can purchase it as an extract, a powder. There's so many ways. Just as long as you don't have any of these other things preventing you from, fly, gnat, whatever. As long as you don't have all these things preventing you from having basil, I would highly recommend it. It's definitely something that would be useful to add to your apothecary. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm usually available. You can follow me at The Herbalist Garden on Facebook. I have a group there. We're nice and active. It's fun. I enjoy it. You can follow me here on YouTube. I'm trying to make it so that I'm going to be producing more videos more often. Not always about the herbs specifically, but sometimes I'll do ones on how to DIY make a certain recipe. I have on here how to make apple cider vinegar. I'll put it up on a card. I have in the past videoed myself making brown sugar. It's so easy. There's no reason to spend your money on buying brown sugar. It's so easy. 2 ingredients in like 10 minutes tops. And it's way better for you. Anyway, there's a lot that I can do. There's a lot more that I can offer. You guys have to show interest in it. But I'll see you soon. Thank you so much for learning with me today. Always do your research. I am not a doctor. I am a communications major. That's what I am. So I communicate information to you. Thank you. Have a great day.